Greetings. This is Robert Forsch with a broadcast about the stationary level Earth. Wanted to throw a little bit of light on the subject here. The YouTube Truth Mobile. That is the moon high in the sky. Ooh, I'm going to need to go ahead and activate my P1000. Okay, so now I've got the P1000 recording, and I'm showing the moon approaching from this vantage point and the sun approaching from this vantage point. The thing to keep in mind is the sun is coming up right down at the end of the road there from this vantage point, while the moon is also approaching in the same direction. What I want you to keep in mind is today the sun is going to run a course and set over in the middle of the view right there in our neighborhood. Meanwhile, the moon rose over there and is going to set over there, a completely different path. So we live on a stationary level Earth, and the luminaries, sun, moon, and stars move above us. And that's important because essentially what that means is the official sources of our news and information are lying about all of this. And that's a big deal because they're promoting a godless cosmic Big Bang. And what I want to do is go ahead and make it perfectly evident that the Earth isn't moving. And I'm going to go right on up here to my wind chime once again. This was at the Flat Earth Conference in Denver, and I showed Dylan this wind chime and Rich from the London Guardian as well. And you can, let me reposition this a bit. Okay, what I wanted to do is go ahead and take it right on up there and show you. This is the non-movement of the Earth. Where in the world could a wind chime hang anywhere upside down in relationship to other wind chimes? Well, only in the imagination. That's where the globe exists. So when you hear a wind chime, you can think about that. It can be a conversation piece if you want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the moon out there, and you'll be able to see amazing content with high-powered zoomed-in moon shots and videos on my channel if you care to. It looks like right now I'm facing a concave surface with the edge of it turned a little bit towards me. I can see the silhouette of it there. Now I've got a lot of content that I believe will back that up. And there's others that do as well. This isn't a me show. And it's not even only about the shape of the Earth, because what I've got on my channel is powerful content, including artificial intelligence that's running the World Central Bank, the biggest Ponzi scheme ever perpetrated on humanity financially. And you can explore that if you care to. I'm going to take us for a drive in a little bit, but what I want to do before that is go ahead and take a few more zoomed in shots of the moon here. So the path that the sun and the moon move a course above the face of the Earth is very different from one another, and very different through the various seasons. You know, they call that the Terminator line, what I'm zoomed in on. That's the edge of the moon, and it looks like a somewhat of a dished surface, not like exactly like a bowl. It's a very interesting indeed. It's a 10% moon right now. The Tides Near Me app is a very effective app to illustrate and project the scheduled moon and sunrise and the percentages of the moon as well. So right now the moon is running a similar course from this vantage point that the sun runs in the winter. So exactly the path, the map and model of the stationary Earth, I don't exactly know. I really don't need to. What I am completely and acutely aware of is that they're lying. And I ain't buying. They're liars, okay? And I'm exposing that. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and cut the P1000 broadcast, and I'll resume it later at the beach. Whoops, sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to load us up in the car and head on over to the ocean, and you'll be able to see the sunrise the whole way. All right, so thanks for sticking with me through the broadcast and also staying with me as friends. This has been very interesting. When I first went public with my awareness that we didn't live on a globe and I was going to expose that and so many other actual conspiracies, it was met with a lot of opposition from friends and family all over the earth. And what's interesting about that is a lot of those that claim to be Jesus lovers, God lovers, Bible lovers, apparently don't believe a lot of what Scripture says about the nature of our creation and the cosmology, which is the world and the celestial mechanics and all that the Bible proclaims. So along with that, what I'm going to do is flip this around and show you as I head on down towards the end of the street here and head on over to the ocean, is that it's just very beautiful. The sunrises here, very enjoyable to see. And I've been taking videography and photography of the sun and the moon for years now. Whoops, looks like I might have had an interruption. So what I'm going to try and do is stick with this microphone setup that I have. It's a surround sound Sennheiser, and we're only a few minutes from the ocean here, about 7 miles away. And what I'm going to do is take us over, I believe, to the coastal preserve, and then ultimately to the open ocean as well. And it looks like I've got a little bit of a lens flare I'm going to need to get rid of here. It's a little bit of a challenge. We're in a high humidity area typically. Sometimes it's low, but what I did is updated my liked video playlist once again. I do that quite often, and that's actually kind of a big deal. I've got to do this a little bit different, I think. Okay, let's see. Not happy with that. I'm going to have to use a different tool for that. As I update my playlist, what it does is it moves things around. Of course, I saw the Not Exactly Normal video by Dylan that I met at the Flat Earth Conference, and I was actually pretty and pleasantly surprised to see what he featured of what I talked about there on the at the conference. As good as I want it to. It might be my windshield. You know, what I did this morning was I washed the car with wax and soap, and I think that's the issue. It's got a film on it. So it's not going to get any better until I get out there and wipe it. So I'm going to do that. I'll be but a moment. Yeah, I've got unfortunately a little bit of a glitch in my sound system here. There we go. All right. So what I wanted to do is take us to the ocean again. I've had a consecutive bunch of days where I've been able to show the pretty clear skies of the moon appearing and the sunrises as well. And they are a celestial timepiece that moves above the stationary level Earth. One of the things that I would want you to consider is there would be absolutely no level anywhere on a moving Earth. Let that sink in a bit. I want you to really think about that. In a lot of, I've watched a lot of videos. I know that a lot of the very vocal individuals within the Flat Earth and Truth movement talk about water being a natural level. I totally get that. In fact, many of them have been instrumental in me understanding a lot of the details of this, but it was like right away I realized that there would be no level anywhere, and that whole idea of people upside down in relationship to other people, that's totally absurd and ridiculous. Of course, many people know that. I'm just wanting to package it once again and present it to you in the reality that we're living in a programmed society that is so powerful. The programming is so powerful, it's involving almost every facet of the distribution of information / entertainment, what we see, hear, what the public discourse is, what people talk about, the water cooler conversations at the office, what's acceptable to talk about or not. I mean, it's all cleverly choreographed, even using comedies to craft the acceptable social narrative, what you can talk about, and if you step out of line, it will be met with ridicule. And of course, the discussion of the flat earth or 9/11 or vaccines, those are issues that all have a lot of undergirding, as well as the support of our troops, the military troops. Unfortunately, what most of humanity is unaware of is that the wicked rulers of this world, that are in governments all around the earth and in secretive societies, are engorging their resources with the efforts of humanity that is enslaved to a system and a war they don't even realize exists at that level. You know, so in the United States here, they'll try and get everybody fired up to protect the homeland from the terrorists, when in fact the terrorists are the governments of the world, and they work together to create a narrative that allows them the opportunity to travel around the world and kill off their opposition, to go ahead and attack innocent people all over. It's been happening for a long time. The false pretense for wars, not just one war, not just one event, many events, many wars throughout our history. So as we question our reality, how will we know for sure what is true and what is false? How will you be able to recognize the deception when it's so pervasive? It's all around us. That's the challenge with that. So I'm driving down Sea Mountain Highway. At the end of this street right here is where I had the opportunity to capture the local sun video that's been seen over 750,000 times and shared over 17,000 times in a variety of different editions of that. I've got it on my YouTube channel with a couple thousand views, and Flat Earth Research is approaching 100,000. Infinite Earth over 700,000 or over 600,000 views, and then there's other it's in other videos as well that are going around. I've had the opportunity, because I've dedicated a lot of time to this, but then it's even more than that. It's way more than that. I'm gonna just show you the coastal preserve where we're headed, and the sun is going to be coming up in the middle of the view. Right down at the end of the street there is the open ocean. In fact, I believe what I'm going to do is just take us on down there, and then I'll come on back, but I just kind of wanted to show you right now. So I can kind of put that together in a, I wanted to, let me see. Yeah, I want to take us out to the ocean and show you where the moon is right now in relationship to the beach. It's very interesting because we have, you know, a variety of different locations to see all this from, and I wanted to show you what it looks like from here as well. So right up, let me activate this again. So I've got the P1000, I've got the P1000 recording again, and wanted to go ahead and show you what it looks like here. So in the middle of the view is the direction that I was shooting the sunset, and the moon was high in the sky up here. Where the sun and the moon appear on the horizon throughout the seasons and the phases of the moon as well varies considerably, and also their duration of visibility between one another varies significantly. So that is the Myrtle Beach skyline headed in that direction. I can see a lot of beach services vehicles down there, beach sweepers, and then they're picking up refuse as well. Ah, we've got some acrobats going on. That's interesting. Look at that. That's interesting. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in on the moon again. And of course the light from the sun hits the moon, and yet the moon is self-illuminating as well. It puts off a cooler light. The light of the moon is cooler than the shade around from the moon. So I've used a digital infrared thermometer to confirm that as well. Just so you know, it's not something I just heard and believed it. I actually was able to test it. And you can too. You can get an infrared thermometer from like a tool company, Home Depot, or hardware stores, and test that. And I did it on a like a piece of cardboard that didn't have a thermal mass storage of temperature, so I was able to confirm it pretty accurately. So high tide this morning, I believe, is at 6:42 Eastern Standard Time. What I've been doing is, with my new cellular provider, T-Mobile, for whatever reason, I seem to get a better quality of Facebook recording. Maybe there's something else that happened also, but I've decided to go ahead and record, or actually go live on Facebook to give you a live broadcast that I convert to a YouTube video. Now the coastal preserve and the water tower is over in the middle of the view there. And the sun should approach way over there from this vantage point. And it's pretty calm and rather beautiful. What I'm going to do is go ahead and zoom in a little on the skyline. Having a little bit of a challenge with my microphone here. I had some videos that I featured once again that show professional, I believe the Smithsonian did a story on Myrtle Beach, and they showed the development of this area. I featured that as well. So we'll get about 20 million guests here this year. Good morning. One of the videos that I featured on my Facebook showed the turtles, the loggerhead turtles. They show them really small. The little baby turtles are about the size, they're small, like about the size of an egg. And they get about 1,200 pounds. I've seen them out at the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier down there. They'll be out in the open ocean there. It's pretty interesting. And what I've noticed quite often is as the sun breaks the level plane, quite often a gust of wind or the wind picks up a little bit. One of the videos that I featured recently dealt with artificial intelligence and autonomous weapons systems. That is a topic that people should, I believe, be aware of because of the nature of the fact that AI is not it's not human, and it's not necessarily people friendly. Now, Satan will use who and what he can, and God uses it all, including him. And I thought you should know about that. Some people think about this in terms of like Predator drones, and I showed the Pegasus on there. It's a jet that can fly without being, it's not a drone actually. It's well, maybe it is a drone in the sense that it doesn't need a person on it. However, it doesn't even need a human being to operate a joystick or something like that that's steering it. It's all computer operated. That temperature differential is what causes the evaporation and then of course condensation and precipitation. it drives the whole water cycle of the world. And that is the Prince Resort right in the middle of the view there. And according to the projections, the sun will be visible here in 5 minutes. And a lot of people have a lot of questions on how this all works out. Why doesn't all the water fall off the edge? I just showed you the edge of North America and South Carolina. Just a little bit of elevation stops the water from coming in. If the water's higher because of a storm surge like a hurricane, it'll come a long ways in, depending on how much storm surge there is. So, you know, I know that there's talk about an ice wall. Yeah, it could be. I know we've seen penguins and polar bears, and we don't really know exactly where that footage was captured. It's all basically relative to, you know, the path of the sun and the moon. When you get further away from the sun, it's cooler. It'll be freezing here in the winter. Sometimes I've seen as cold as 16 degrees, even though the ocean is right there, real close to us. So is it possible that there's some tropical areas? Well, if you look at Argentina, pretty nice areas in Argentina. Apparently that's supposed to be pretty close to Antarctica on even the globe. Okay, so the globe is clearly a deception. And so I'm going to try and reactivate my microphone here. So this is the coastal preserve, and I'm approaching it from a different direction than yesterday. And then one of the real obvious clues, once again, is the level water in the middle of the view. It's flat and level, and little puddles like that can handle quite a bit of wind and not get all rippled in that. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic. And I'm definitely gonna go ahead and want to do some recording once again with the P1000. I'm going to get set up for that. There we go. This is the Russell R. Burgess Coastal Preserve in South Carolina. And I just drove us from the ocean. You can see the continuous broadcast of that on YouTube later. Right now it's live on Facebook. And that sound maybe you can hear is the windmill. Now down here it's pretty calm actually, but up there obviously we can see quite a bit of wind is hitting that propeller. I'm actually not able to see the moon right now. I think that might be it for the day. I have a photo album on Facebook. Some of you have seen it. I might be the reason why I can't copy and paste my photo album, or you can't in comments. They'll on Facebook, they stopped the ability for that to happen almost a year ago. And what I'll continue to do is, as much as I can, to make this evidence available for people to evaluate. And it's not just pictures that my photo album is. It's got a series of links to videos and organizations and information about the truth of the nature of all this. And all of this greenery right here is going to provide a bit of a windbreak for more picturesque reflection. All this water down here is much more glassy. Whoops. Sorry about that. Because of that. So in the summer, now we can see where the sun is appearing here, and in the winter it'll appear in the middle of the view there. The tidal activity here is between 4 and 6 feet typically. Today is about a 4-foot tide. It's a little bit higher than yesterday. And there's the sun. I'll be zooming in on that. One of the titles that I've hashtagged is Local Sun. The lighting would be substantially different if the sun was truly as far away as they're saying, like 93 million miles. That's not the case. I know that. And when they say, when NASA and Discovery Channel and these other organizations repeat or parrot the temperature of the sun and how much helium and hydrogen and how it all works, they're just presenting themselves as experts that are presenting a deception. And they'll frame it in a lot of credentials and financials and corporate sponsors to promote all that. Oh wow. I'm just simply going to expose the deception that it is. No matter how clever the presenters are, it's still a deception. Like I told Dylan, there's a lot of people that are involved in the deception. However, they don't. That was the not exactly normal video. It's at the top of my list right now. They're deceived and they don't know it. So they're perpetuating a deception when, from their perspective, they believe they're educating people. Just moving a little further over, I'm in a much calmer area, less wind. If you hashtag local sun, I've got a lot of content that highlights the sun actually being in the midst of the clouds, or I'm talking about it. Or I just want you to go there. Each one of my videos is an opportunity for me to drive traffic to my channel to help you be aware of the world that we live in, the situation of this. So I don't need to explain all that I'm wanting to tell you because it's a lot. And there's a very diverse group of content and content producers, from TED Talks to JP Ultra Spiritual to Rich Ferguson and Lewis Black and PewDiePie and Logan Paul. I've got these guys on there. Some of them are making fun of the truth. Others are exposing it. And there's a spiritual smorgasbord that humanity is dining on. A lot of different perspectives of what people believe this is all about. And I've been, as far as my activity in the truth movement, when I became vocal about all of this, it was for the reason of evangelism, for reaching a humanity that I believe needs to be born again to even see the kingdom of heaven. And that happened to me about 4.5 years ago. I don't know if Dylan added the last little bit of the clip where I mentioned that Halloween, I was born again on Halloween, when human sacrificing, blood drinking Satanists celebrate that wicked holiday with candy distribution and collection for the unaware masses. That's, you know, and I was shocked that that was in there. I didn't remember it earlier on. Maybe it was there on the first time around when he put that out. I don't know. It's a hot potato, this whole thing. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal that NASA and the Central Intelligence Agency and DARPA and the executive office, the president, you don't need a top secret clearance to know that we aren't on a globe. All you need to do is take a look at the reality of the world that we live in, and reality exposes the global lie. It's not even possible to live on a globe. Spinning, wobbling, gyrating. None of the movement of the earth has ever been proven. And it's not just so NASA makes money. That would be ridiculous. That whole system of control actually creates money out of thin air. They just want control of humanity. The public opinion, And keep in mind, this is a battle for the souls of men, women, children for eternity. And truth is the main weapon for God's team, God's family, the creator of this world. That's whose team I'm on. And I've been proclaiming the gospel the whole time. Actually started out doing this by creating an audio Bible that I merged with the beauty of creation. That's when my friend Nigel Bakes asked me where the curve was. I thought, Nigel, are you okay? What are you talking about? He said, yeah, they lied about evolution and also about the shape of the earth. We don't live on a globe. And I was so busy working at a full-time ministry, homeschooling our sons, volunteering at a mega church. I had no idea that that the globe was a deception. So we perpetuated it when we homeschooled our sons and got them books that showed them the stars and the moon and the planets and the globe and all of that. We were part of the deception. That's how it happens. Deceived individuals, by irony and paradox, don't know they're deceived. So we were deceivers that were deceived as well. Ultimately, even Satan is a deceived and defeated foe. And a third of the angels were cast out of heaven along with him. And he's angry and hateful and evil. And his children are much like him. So the characteristics of a child of God that's actually born again is going to be very different than one of Satan's children that are born of his spirit. So this is clearly a battlefield and a battle that is going on. And so the deception to be effective has a certain element and percentage of truth. And largely what we'll see, what I've noticed is like National Geographic or the Discovery Channel will have beautiful wildlife imagery. Good morning, good to see you again.
How you doing?
Great, thank you.
See you too. Have a good day.
Thank you. And so what they'll do is they'll show the beautiful imagery of creation and then explain the false narrative of a globe and evolution and all of that. and that what we're told on the news as well. The news. Why do we watch the news? Why do we want to see what's going on? Why does a magazine like People Magazine or the tabloids interest us? To observe the freak show of humanity. Why is that? That's part of our nature, I guess. I know that now that I'm actually born again and I have a passion, purpose, and an eternal perspective to do this, I find a lot of time to invest in this. And that includes chores in the wee hours of the morning to get ready for this. Now, one of the things that I want to talk to you about as well is the reality that there's an assault on humanity in the food, water, air. There's silent weapons for quiet wars. Talk about 5G and cellular and microwave radiation coming right from a microwave oven. I've seen people, I've done it myself, put popcorn in a microwave and put my nose right up against the glass. I won't do that anymore. I don't even really want to be in the room when that's going on, but I don't like freak out and run away. It's just that we have choices that we can make, and it's not that God is a cosmic killjoy and he's going to punish me for eating microwave popcorn. That'd be me punishing myself. So when you look at the dynamic of the theater and the movies, they don't make a whole lot of money on the movies. They make a lot of money on the popcorn and the sodas, which are all very toxic. How about that? As well as much of the main course there, which is the deception for the brain. Seeing is believing. What? What are they going to show us? So dinner in a movie is dinner in programming. So once again today I took a bath with purified water, drinking water that I store up. I show that in my videos, some of them. Store it up in 5-gallon jugs, and it takes less than an hour to produce 5 gallons. So when it overflows, and it does sometimes, it'll go into the washing machine and I'll use the water there. Today I had a cup of baking soda and a cup of Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate, as well as a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. All of that is very nutritious for the body. The baking soda kills cancer, kills fungus. Cancer is a fungus. You should know that. I did a video yesterday. I didn't say a word. I just showed horseback riding, parasailing, people on the beach. The thumbnail is a young couple with probably a little girl with a bonnet or a little hat on. You could see the reflection of them on the beach. That's why I talk about shadows and reflections quite a bit. They need to be at the beach for the reflection to be there. It's a reflection of priorities. It doesn't mean you have to be wealthy to enjoy the wilderness. You can just turn off the TV and go outside and enjoy life. I mean, I'll have the TV on quite a bit in our house, but it's typically going to have the audio Bible merged with the beauty of the ocean and all of that, and the people enjoying it. So that's what my YouTube Truth playlist is. So, for example, this area is much more tranquil, and it's definitely a road less traveled than the beach, so to speak. And even that is still pretty quiet. Just on the other side of the building there, in the middle of the view, is the Prince Resort. There's a lot of fishermen there. I showed that earlier on the broadcast. You can see it. And because the wind is coming towards us, it's coming out of the northwest right now. That's actually the direction where the sun is going to set. So just keep this in mind. The sun is rising here, and then it's going to set in the middle of the view there. Just think about that. Meanwhile, the moon showed up in the middle of the view there and is going to set over there. They're running a different path. It's a different course over the stationary level Earth. Water is, in fact, a natural level. I know I repeat myself on these videos, but it's never the same. It's always different. It's a bit of an advertisement to go to my channel. I was shocked to see the way that I've had an opportunity to share a message with a lot of people around the world in my social media platform. And I can attend a conference. I have no control at all of what content goes out there. That's what's so shocking to me, is that a lot of what I said was, I believe, all true and very important. Do you feel yourselves? Now, there's a bunch of fish probably swimming for their life. What I was going to say is that, you know, I understand where the Robbie Davidson speaking at the event and others are featured. What I found really interesting through all this is that I've had an opportunity to just be seen and picked on by a lot of these media channels, including PewDiePie, which he is the most subscribed YouTube channel in the world. As interesting as all of that is, the artificial intelligence knows all that I do. It sees all of what you do digitally, and that activity is growing, what it's able to monitor and measure. Now that's about a 7-mile-an-hour breeze. Look at the texture, what it does to the water. So we aren't going to see any of the reflections because of that. And now that I'm pointing in this direction, we'll see the reflections of the sun, and then over here it'll be glassy, and we'll see some of the reflections I'm able to show you are different, of course, because of the different vantage point, but all the aerodynamics that are involved in water are a big deal. This greenery that's right in the middle of the view there creates quite a windbreak. So these reflections right down here are very beautiful, and well, they show the evidence of what I'm talking about, how water seeks level. See, I've stepped over here where I showed you, and you can hear, I would think, that it's not windy like it was. And so in the middle of the view, we can see the aerodynamics, how it affects the reflections of the buildings, because of the windbreak that this is right here. And yet up above, we can see the windmill spinning. What I am continually amazed with is how I'm able to see things differently than I used to. And one of the dynamics is because I am not watching a bunch of television that's distracting me from what I could otherwise be doing, I have a focus of my attention on how I can do whatever I do better. And that's a desire a lot of corporations want to bring to their companies. You know, how can we do this better? They'll put a suggestion box, or they'll have an idea, developing forum meetings in that to try and figure out how they can logistically handle the distribution of products and all of that. When I talk about artificial intelligence, I want you to think about this. I want you to consider something. Rather than look at the CEO of, let's say, Amazon or Facebook or Twitter, these people make a lot of money and they have a lot of control over the public discourse. And it's not really even just them. They're utilizing a lot of technology, the artificial intelligence. So they are spokespeople for the AI. And I'm a spokesperson for God, who has all knowledge, all power. He's all powerful and all knowing. So I'll just do what he created me to do and enjoy it. whereas there are people trying to figure out how to enjoy life, how to squeeze more money out of their business and more money out of the pockets of humanity, largely to engorge their own pleasures. That's what a lot of business is about, is people that just want to have fun, just want to, and they may be very passionate about a cause. They may be very philanthropic and want to give away a lot of money to help people. And at first glance, you might think somebody like Bill Gates giving away a lot of money, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they're perpetuating death all around the world with what they do. So even when you listen to, if you listen to like National Public Radio and the sponsors that they have, they're largely promoting a godless agenda, okay? And, well, I'm exposing as much of it as I can. If there's topics that you think I should be aware of, you can link that information in a comment, or you can call me, 1-843-504-1776. My Skype handle is YouTube Truth. I believe it's hashtag YouTube Truth. I do a lot of hashtags. I was told that that's probably going to be discontinued, but that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. It's just that's what somebody told me, so I'm not all freaked out about it. So one of the passages that means a lot to me, where Scripture says, as water reflects a man's face, God's word reflects the man. And the question that I had was, why am I struggling so much with behavior I could not stop doing? And why couldn't I do what I believed I should? All I had was my human nature. I hadn't been born of the Spirit yet, born of God's Spirit, even though I thought I had been. That's the disturbing message that I bring to this whole discussion, as I thought I was born again until I actually was. So this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. I'm ending the P1000 broadcast. Thank you so much for your public and private support. So I'm going to carry on for a little bit with the Facebook broadcast, and then I'll go home and post it on YouTube. I say that, Lord willing, not like a religious phony that just wants to put God on it. I'm serious. I don't know how long I'll be able to do this. I just do it as much as I can, because I believe it really matters for eternity. When you can't fog a mirror and you can't register a pulse, where will you be and why? We had a gentleman that is working on a facility to help people in Georgetown, a historic building, and I had the opportunity to give him a couple of mirrors. They're gorgeous. They look like they would have been in classic Victorian architecture, beveled glass with ornate frames. And we talked for a bit. He is wanting to do this to help people. It's kind of like a transitional living location, kind of like a halfway house, some may call it. And I shared with him that passage about that, as water reflects a man's face, God's word reflects the man. And one of the other dynamics that I want to share with you is that God's word also says that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. We're dealing with more than a satanic deception and the boogeyman tricking us. You're dealing with omniscience, which is all-knowing, omnipotence, which is all-powerful, and the sovereignty of God. And this is a battle between God and Satan and the families, God's family and Satan's family. In this battlefield, there are people that haven't been born again yet. They haven't even been born the first time. And Satan wants to eliminate his adversaries. So he'll do it with death and destruction, abortion, military incursion, drugs, taking people out, whether it's illegal or legal drugs. He just wants people ineffective. I believe he has a special pleasure in having people call themselves Bible believers and Christians, and yet living a life that doesn't exemplify that. And that's where I was. I didn't realize that that's what was going on with me. It was a bit of false advertising. I didn't have the power of the Spirit to do what only the Spirit can do. So I couldn't do anything but sin because it was all in my own strength. That's the point of that. So I'm going to say thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. I'm going to walk us on out. Beautiful. You know, I didn't talk about it yesterday. There was, right down in the middle of the view there is where I was recording up on a balcony, cleaning a condo, 2 condos actually, people coming in from out of town to enjoy staying here. It was kind of interesting. I'm going to set this up a little bit differently and just explain something to you. I was on the elevator, and one of the gentlemen that was on the elevator with me said, oh, is that your YouTube channel? I said, it is. I said, yeah. He said, I saw one of your stickers in my room. And I thought that was interesting because I didn't put it there. There are people that are very much in favor of what I'm doing. So like when I stop into the grocery store and there's some young people there, in their, their young teens, and they said, oh, you've got a YouTube channel? And they said, yeah, we've got a YouTube channel too. And what I did though was I went into the store. We didn't talk then, but they just waved and they were walking. And then on my way home, I just pulled on over because they were walking down the sidewalk. We had a nice little conversation, gave them some stickers, and I typically subscribe to those who subscribe to me. We can do that 2,000 times. We can have 2,000 subscriptions, and we can subscribe to 100 channels a day. So it's kind of like sending out a friend request. And right now I don't use any chat bots or anything like that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't implement any. I know there's automated artificial intelligence in a lot of the social media activity. I just have not seen fit to have much in the way of auto responders. I may do it somewhat on my pages, where it like thanks people for messaging. So I guess technically I may be doing that. But I don't have something implemented like that to masquerade like I'm sitting there at my keyboard all the time chatting back to people whenever they reach out to me. And I want to keep it more personal. So like you can call literally anytime. However, on notifications, it's not unusual for me to have 1,000 notifications a day, and there's no way I could keep up with that. So sometimes I typically like my own posts. I love them. I'm in Facebook jail right now because I don't know why. Doesn't even tell me. I sent out less videos to groups. I sent my liked video playlist to some groups and I got locked out. But I've sent out more videos than that before, more posts than that, and not get thrown in jail. It's pretty random. I don't know how it all works out. But I just wanted to share some of those dynamics that I care. And I know people are struggling with being alienated from friends and family in the midst of having a desire to tell the truth because it matters. So, you know, we're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I have, and I want to thank you for sharing the work that I do. I don't see this as something I'm doing alone. I get calls and messages from people that appreciate the work that I do. If you want some of the stickers that I have, you can call me and I'll give you my address. You can send me a self-addressed stamped envelope and I'll send you a bunch of stickers. If you want to have a shirt made up, the YouTube Truth shirt, like it's on my profile, you can contact Coastal Printing. I get them for like 20. If you were to get just one like this, it's like $25. But there are other processes available. You could have like different silk screening, and wherever you live, you may want to go with a company or maybe make something up yourself. I'm not saying I'll never make shirts. I would like to. I've given some away. I just can't afford to give that many away. That's the point of that. So God provides, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your public and private support. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth.